Welcome back, guys. Today we have a data mine for the world-spanning Arclight Rerun event. This is part of the Gridman Universe collaboration event. The rerun will bring back a bunch of old collab ships as well as the gears that were exclusive to the event, and we will be getting new ships with this event as well. If you didn't hear about this rerun, they just announced it during a stream last weekend, in which they announced PR6. A week after it was released in the game. Come on, Yostar. Don't make an announcement stream about new content that released in the game in the past. There is no reason to not have that stream be a week earlier than it was. Anyway, that stream also announced a few other big things, and I'm not just talking about the Taiho mousepad. It announced the 2 new ships we'll be getting with this rerun, as well as the next cruise mission pass, which will be the 3rd ship we review today, Hatakaze META. She is going to be coming at the end of the month. And if at first glance you thought that was going to be a Kashi META, don't worry, I did the same thing too. During the stream, they also showcased the New Jersey Oath figurine, as well as the ending song to the Queen's Orders anime, set to come out on Blu-ray in Japan at the end of this month. Also, we found out who the next boss is going to be for the next Extreme Challenge mode. The star sign is going to be obviously Leo, coming out in August, and San Diego is going to represent Leo here. In addition to the stats you're going to see on screen, she's going to have 2 skills. One is called Star Song that reads, every 18 seconds during the battle, the avatar of Leo will sing loudly, forcefully repelling your Vanguard fleet and reducing the load progress of all fleet members' charged airstrikes, torpedoes, and main guns by 5 to 10%, and the fully loaded weapons are not affected by this. So basically, Sandy is singing so badly that everyone is repulsing and running away and can't even focus on charging their guns. The other skill is called Star Stage, which says after 2 seconds of being triggered, a special stage area will appear in the sea area for 5 seconds, and the speed of all units, both enemy and friendly, have their speed increased by 20 points, and the evasion rate will be increased by 20%. So this means you're going to want to hide in these special stages that appear so you can have your evasion rate increase. Also, because of that first skill, you're going to want to have things that charge in under 18 seconds or right around there, so I think battleships are going to be great. San Diego is also light armor, so keep in mind HE might be the ammo type for battleships, or rockets if you elect to use carriers. The rest of the stream was mainly focused on the new event, so let's talk about that now. The rerun will bring all of the old ships and old gear back. This is important because that means you have access to gain the Goldman again. If you haven't gotten it before, make sure you get it. If you have got it already, get another one. The old skins are going to be rerun with this event, as well as the mini game where you fight with the mecha monsters. Don't worry, we're getting new stuff though. We get a new dorm theme, we get new gear skins, and we're going to get new skins. I actually really like this loungewear / Sunday laundry day theme they got going on for this event. Also, this Ponsu got converted to a sock over in China. The event itself is not changing too much, although it looks like there will be additional challenge stages once you complete T4. Also, each ship is now going to have an Augment Module, the 2 new ones and all of the old ones. That is 9 Augment Modules we have to go through today. One of the fun things about these is these actually summon mechas, and kind of like Power Rangers, when you get all these mechas together, you can actually have like a super combo mecha that you can summon. I don't know, this looks cool. I don't think they're going to be very good, honestly. But if you're really into Gridman Universe collab theme, I think this is going to be very exciting for you. I think they put a lot of effort into these little chibi mechas. Alright, with all that being said, let's get into the new ships. We only have 3 of them today, but we also have 9 Augment Modules and 2 new equipment to get through. And really quickly, we're going to start off with the meta ship, Hatakaze META. Now, her stats are going to be based off of the original Hatakaze, and she is from the Crimson Echoes event, which was 2019 for global and 2018 for Japan, and she wasn't even good then, let alone all of the power creep between then and now. Her base stats suck. And Hatakaze META's stats are technically better, but also not good either. So let's move right into the skills. Her first skill says that when she fires her torpedoes, she has a 100% chance to fire a special barrage that has its damage scale based on this skill level. Okay, so meta ship, more barrages, very plain, not very good. Skill number 2. While this ship is afloat, herself and the main fleet have a minus 5% damage taken. That's actually a pretty good buff there. Like, survivability at the back row. Unfortunately, she's not tanky at all, so 5% damage reduction, she's still probably going to get wiped pretty early. Also, 2 times per battle, when a Vanguard fleet character drops below 30% HP, she restores 8% of HP to that character. That's actually a huge heal. She actually gets 2 of them, and unfortunately, it's probably just going to be healing her, because she's going to probably be the one that goes under 30% first, heals herself up 8%, and then potentially drops below 30% again if it heals over 30%. And then, yeah, she's probably just going to heal herself twice, and if she doesn't, it's likely you won't even get to use that second heal at all. She might just drop below 30 and then die before anyone else drops below 30%. I don't know, this skill's amazing, but like on a destroyer with 1800 health, I'm not so sure about how good that is on that particular ship. But if this goes on like a 5k light cruiser, this is a great skill. I don't know. Honestly, for a meta ship, she's interesting. Her all-out assault also has 6% less damage taken when she's engaging with an elite or boss fight in OpSci. So more survivability when in OpSci, which meta ships like being in OpSci. If we ever get to a point where we're building meta ship exclusive fleets, you know, she's a Vanguard heal for that at least. Let's move on to the event. First up is the SR munition ship, the first of its kind. Princess? I don't know. The translation from Japan says Hime, which is the name of the character that this spin-off show is from. But when they announced it on Global, they called it Princess. So I'm not sure exactly how that happened, but we're just going to call it Princess because that's what Global announced the name translated as. But realistically, all of this content you're going to see is going to call her Hime because that's the direct translation from Japanese that is there. So yes, Princess. An SR munition ship. And is she thicker than Kashino? Wouldn't have thought I'd said that, but she's got much more evasion and health. She's also got a main gun +1. She can carry cargo, and she's got a main gun +1 on a destroyer gun. So, in general, she is the best stat-wise for a munition ship, which makes sense because she's the highest rarity ever made for this type of ship. That main gun +1 is pretty nice, though. At the start of the battle, and every 20 seconds afterward, increase herself and the lead ship of the Vanguard fleet's firepower and hit stat by 10% for 10 seconds. So literally half uptime. She's half up for the first 10, then down for 10, then up for 10, and just repeat. Also, this doesn't stack. If she's the front tank of the Vanguard, she only gets one of the buffs, not both of them. So you do not want to put her at the front of the Vanguard. You want to put her in the middle or at the back. Probably the back. When this ship is equipped with a cargo equipment, remember these are special equipment that give nice buffs, and we have 2 new equipment that I haven't gone over yet that are cargo equipment. So those could potentially be pretty good for her too, but we'll see about that later. If she has a cargo equipment, which you're going to probably want to put a cargo on her, cargo are very powerful. She reduces her speed by 1. That's pretty negligible. She's already very slow anyway. And damage that she takes is minus 15%. So she literally becomes more survivable. Overall, pretty good first skill. Locks you into having her in the middle or the back. And damage reduction is good. She's going to be tanky. Skill number 2. Every 10 seconds, she fires a special barrage. All of the SSS Gridman characters get 10% more damage to the characters that were hit by this barrage. This obviously includes herself, but it's better in a all Gridman fleet. So this ship is interesting. She's by far the strongest cargo ship stat-wise, but cargo ships weren't being used at all. They were actually pretty bad. And she doesn't really redefine the category. She just, you know, has some more stats, some more tankiness, a main gun +1, so she's got a little bit of damage, but she's still not very good. I kind of want to reserve my final judgment until I see the new cargo items because they could make a big difference in whether I'm going to run her. But I will say one of the biggest sad parts of her is that the best cargo item, I think, is literally locked to Kashino. So unless she gets a item that's equal to or better than that item for Kashino, it's going to be a hard sell for me to use this in any fleet. So let's move on to the next ship, which is an SR Aviation battleship. This ship type has been all the rage since the announcement of Kearsarge, so I'm excited to see what they are going to do with this category outside of the PR system. Between this aviation battleship and the munition ship, this event is like the event of underused ship classifications. Anyway, this ship also has a weird naming convention when they translate translated it to global. So instead of using her name in Japanese, which you'll see here, they just call her the second in global. So that's how I'm going to refer to her. Stat-wise, she's actually pretty good. Of course, she doesn't hold a candle to Kearsarge, but if you're comparing her to any of the other aviation battleships in the game, like even the best one before Kearsarge was probably Hyuga, she is tremendously above that stat-wise. Also, she does not get penalized for being an aviation battleship. She gets her 3 main gun salvos, so she doesn't have to give up anything to get those fighters. Those are fighters, not seaplanes, and they come in at 200% efficiency as well. So this seems like it's not just a Kearsarge thing, but this seems like a directional thing for aviation battleships to not make them complete garbage. So stat-wise, I'm actually pretty happy. Like, if she's got some good skills, this could be a good ship here. It's not going to be as good as Kearsarge, but Kearsarge is a DR PR6, and this is a event collab ship, so it wasn't expecting to be on the same level at all, but she has potential, at least looking at the stats. So let's get into the skills. Skill number 1, her own firepower and hit stat are buffed by 15%, just passive all the time. Easy. When this ship fires her main guns, there's a 70% chance to fire a special barrage. So we're back to that 70% chance now. Interesting. Okay, so it's just a barrage and a buff. Skill number 2, she increases her aviation by 15%, so now she hits all of her damage dealing stats. And every 20 seconds, she launches a special barrage, and that one scales off of her aviation. The first barrage scaled off her firepower, and she restores 8% health to a random ship in the Vanguard. It's a little unfortunate it has to be random, but it's only the Vanguard, which is usually what you want to heal anyway, so at least you're only between the 3 of them. And it's 8% and every 20 seconds. This is a healing ship. This ship is a healing ship. And its damage is not going to be nerfed by having the fighters. This is definitely a lot better. Like I said, I reserve the right on the Princess just to make sure. We'll see what the cargo items are. But as far as this one goes, this is a healing ship that can deal damage. This is the second best aviation battleship in the game, no doubt. And if you're going to spend cubes on this event, this is probably going to be your target ship. This one and Chisei, if you haven't picked her up already. Although just keep in mind that we probably have a UR event coming in September. Also potentially a wishing well. And PR6 costs cubes to do research. So just be careful with your cube stock. Alright, let's really quickly go over the equipment. There's only 2 of them, but I just want to put the cargo question to rest and just see if we have any good cargo units. So these are both SR cargo units. They can only be equipped by munition ships. They actually bring a lot of HP, 750 HP each at level 10 and 840 at level plus 13. The first one says when it's equipped by Hime, it gets a skill where all Gridman ships gain firepower and torpedo stat by 8%. Okay, it's locked to Hime and locked to Gridman, so only useful in a Gridman only fleet. This one doesn't matter to me. I mean, yeah, it just doesn't. All right, the other one, when equipped by Hime, once again, locked to Hime, firepower and aviation stat are increased by 8% for the following characters. Okay, isn't that all the Gridman characters? Are we missing a few? There's a few Gridman characters that are not there. I think there should be like 9. So apparently some of the Gridman characters don't get the boost here. Honestly, both of these are garbage. I can officially say that Princess is completely useless unless you plan on running her in a Gridman fleet, like pure Gridman, then you're going to want her. Otherwise, Kashino's probably just better. Kashino has worse stats, but she can equip a better cargo item, which is the only reason you will use a munition ship is for that cargo item buff. So yeah, she's trash. All right, let's move on to the Augment Modules. I guess I should technically wait to look at those first because those will buff all of these ships, but it will only be some stat boosts and a modification of a skill. All right, let's start off with Princess. She's going to get 30 firepower, which is actually helpful for her main gun +1, and 22 evasion, which is helpful because she is slow, and yeah, so those are good stats for her to have. She's also going to fire a barrage now every 30 seconds, so okay, cool. She's also going to modify her first skill, which gives her 10% bonus to her hit stat and firepower. However, if the lead character of your Vanguard is a Gridman character, she and that lead character get 12% instead of 10%. Okay, they couldn't just make it 12% all the time, like they had the locket behind Gridman. Okay, so this does not fix Princess. Now I can officially say she's trash. Let's move on to the other one, the second. She's gonna get 35 firepower and 20 aviation. That's nice. And she gets a barrage at every 25 seconds now. And also her barrage skill is gonna proc at 100% rather than 70%. All these things are nice, and that's gonna really help with her damage from the extra barrage, the increased barrage, so we have consistency and the extra stats. This is a very simple but good augment module. Might as well just be on her by default. I should have just reviewed them together, honestly. And with that, we are going to go to the old ships and see if they got any increases from their augment modules that are relevant. Obviously, they're all going to be better than without their augment module. You know, I say that and then they're going to like totally mess with me and not do that. But generally, they're all stat boosts. So you should always use an augment module if you have one. I want to start off with Chisei because she's the one that is the most interesting to me. She's the one that's closest to the meta as possible. So if she gets a really good augment module, she actually could potentially be a meta ship. Okay, she's going to get 40 aviation stat. That's actually really high and very nice. She's also going to get 10 hit stat, and her skill is she gets 8% aviation buff. Okay, so she really just pumps that aviation. Plus 40 and then plus 8% on top of that. And then she gets part of that like summoning Gridman mecha, where if she's with like Rika and the other ones, they get this like super summon soldier. It's interesting, I'll say. It's definitely cool. I'm not sure it's going to be necessarily good. And her upgraded skill description is literally just increasing her extra airstrike, like her special raid. It just improves it. So she basically just gets some out of game improvements here that's going to help her with DPS. I don't think this actually brings her up to Aquila level yet, so I don't think it like supplants Aquila, but it's much better and definitely closer to Aquila than before. So if you are missing that Italian ship, you can use this and supplement that. Next up, we have Yume, the heavy cruiser laser user. She's going to get evasion and firepower for her stats. Those are good stats. And she is 15 seconds after entering the battle, she's going to summon a unit. And if she is with Rika, she's going to have like the super soldier again. Also, her laser skill is going to be improved. This isn't going to make her meta or anything, but it is going to be fun for the Gridman fleet, which is going to use her because she's one of the best slots if you want to stay in the theme. And now she can just be used with Rika for more buffs. And now that we mentioned Rika, let's go down to Rika. So she's going to get her firepower and reload. That's all right. She's a very interesting character because she has 5 auxiliary slots. So you can literally just equip her with all auxiliaries. It's very unique, and I don't know. She's got all these buffs with being with her friends in the themes, but like I always like her for having 5 auxiliaries, which is great for like hard mode requirements and all sorts of things. So like if you don't have Rika, she can be really helpful in certain situations. Even if you don't ever use her in a single battle, she can just like meet the requirements for hard modes by just sitting in the secondary fleet. Anyway, she is going to get a self firepower and torpedo buff by 15%. That's great. She's also going to summon the Gridman 3 seconds after the start of the battle, and it's going to last for 15 seconds. And if she has her 2 friends, it's going to become that super soldier thing. And she's also going to improve one of her skills that's just going to improve the damage on her barrage laser thing. So, okay, it seems like a theme here. We're like going to improve our barrage, and we're going to summon a little mecha. That's kind of the theme that we got going on here. Next up, we have Akane's Augment Module. She is kind of like a nerfed version of Monarch. She's like a barrage battleship with a heal. So her getting firepower and reload are great. She's also going to summon a Alexis Cliff, which is probably something from the show. It happens at the 15-second mark and it lasts for 30 seconds. Also, she gets a enhancement to her barrage. It procs at 100%. This is good. This is good for barrage battleship that heals. She's basically just Monarch Monarch at this point. So if you don't want to grind Monarch, you can use her instead. And of course, if you want to run Gridman, use Gridman. The next three are all going to be for elite ships. Basically, none of these ships ever stand a chance at becoming meta ever, or really being all that good. I kind of want to skip over them pretty quickly. These augment modules rather just give them some extra DPS or consistency. For Namiko, you increase her barrage from 70% to 100%, and after the third time she fires her main gun, she's going to get plus 10% firepower. These aren't going to move the needle on her really much at all. Haas has a kind of similar skill. After the second time she fires her torpedoes, she gets 12% torpedo stat boost, and instead of increasing her barrage chance, she's actually decreasing the number of times she needs to fire her barrage, so effectively increasing the barrages that she's going to give. It's from 10 shots to 6 shots. Once again, not moving the needle. And just to be succinct and complete, Mujina over here gets an improved barrage, and she fires an extra barrage 5 seconds after the start of the battle. It only happens once. All of these ships are still bad. All of these augment modules kind of do the same thing. They add a little bit extra DPS through kind of modifying the barrage, whether it's increasing the chance or the frequency or just the damage, and then giving some extra stats and maybe summoning something or giving them an extra barrage. All kind of boring, nothing to really note specially here. I was a little disappointed by these, but I expected it, honestly, when they said that every single one was going to get a new one. Anyway, this event is definitely not necessary, I'll say. The aviation battleship is something I might pick up just for fun. It's like a decent healer. I already have all the other ships. Chise is pretty decent if you don't have her and you don't have Aquila. She's definitely worth picking up. But outside of Chise, if you don't have her, and the second, I don't think there's anything in this event that's really meaningful. A lot of it can be picked up for free, like I said. For example, a Kane can be replaced with something like a Monarch. So I would say that it's not a bad idea to save your cubes. We do have a UR event coming up soon. Of course, you can spend them on PR6. I know those completion warriors are going to really care about getting every ship, but I will say this, because it's a collab ship, it does not count towards collection, nor does it count towards fleet tech. So you don't even need to pick up these ships if you don't want them. These are very much kind of waifu over meta event here. But one thing you do need to pick up is the items. You need to pick up the Gridman item. That is a must pick up, and honestly, you should just pick up all the items in case they become good. The items for this event are actually pretty decent. So the items are important, the ships, not so much. Anyway, that's what I had. This was a much longer video than I thought for just 3 ships, but we had a lot of augment modules to go through, and I can talk for a while apparently. Anyway, that's the video. Thank you guys for watching. Take care, and I will see you guys next time.